When I was 10 years old, I joined the Cub Scouts. My dad got me a kit to build a rocket. The rocket was powered by a rubber band that I spun around. There was a propeller. It hung by two screw eyes on a string, and I was going to enter a race and win against all my Cub Scout fellows. And I painted it. It was blue. I remember it was the best looking rocket of all the rockets, and I knew I would win. I used this same knife. This isn't the same one, but the same model. It had a Cub Scout shield made by Camillus. Mine was probably earlier because mine didn't have liner locks for the punch. I remember getting stabbed by the thing. Anyhow, I let go of the propeller, and the propeller spun itself into the rope, and my rocket didn't even finish the race. But I did get my first pocket knife. Welcome to Endless Edge Craft. I'm Alex Chances, and this flagship video is going to be looking at folders that have multiple tools on them, including utility Boy Scout knives, some farriers. We're going to look at a bunch of different knives and information. I hope you enjoy it. Guys, let's take a minute and look at Bernard Levine's book. This is the 5th edition. They're up to 7. So Bernard Levine puts them in a category with utility and scout knives. Before they were called scout knives, they were known as utility knives. And actually, if you want to go further back than that, there were sportsman's knives and the ones that had the hoof picks, which were the farrier's knives. We'll look at a couple of those. If you decide to dig a little deeper into the scout and utility knives, Levine's book is full of information about them. And there's many pages on them, and you can learn a lot about them. The Presto Light came with a skate key and a cattaraugus. A lot of you know this knife has the compass in it. You can tell how old the book is. They value the knife at $200. I wish I could get one of those knives for $200. Predating utility knives and scout knives, the knives that had multi-blades and tools were sportsman's knives and horseman's knives. Horseman's knives, sometimes known as farriers, had a pick for cleaning out dirt from your horse's hoof. I'll show you one of those in a minute. I will make another video where I go more in depth in these knives, but let me tell you what they are. This is a Wheatley Brothers farrier's knife, 1853 to 1919. This is a Needham Brothers Celebrated Cutlery, which was 1860 to 1953. But judging by the stag on it, I'd put it more in the 1800s than in the 1900s. This is an SC Rag Cutlery, 1850 to 1860. That's a pretty old knife. And this is the only German one of the bunch. It says Henschel. I have not been able to find information about it, but it's an amazing knife. I will show you more about it. As you can see on this knife, the stag is exceptional, and it has a pick for pulling dirt out of your horse's hoof. So this was, another style of knife that had lots of tools on it. All of these have a bunch of tools. Same here, same here. I'm going to talk about folders I have that have multiple tools on them. This is the most spectacular. Has tortoise shell handles, has a bone toothpick in it, and the tweezers, and a handmade corkscrew, bunch of blades, a scissors, a saw, poker. And other than the few tools that are shaped like this, like the awl, other than that, every one has a little tiny nail nick on it so you can open it when the blades are closed. It's just an incredible, incredible knife. If we are going to talk about folders that have multiple tools, we got to mention the Swiss Army style knife. There were 2 companies authorized by the Swiss government to make knives for the Swiss Army. One was Wenger, one was Victorinox. After September 11th, they merged, and now Victorinox has bought Wenger. So there's really, even though they retain both company names, There's really only one company, and it's owned by Victorinox. So how did this style of knife become so popular? Around 1910, the Boy Scouts of America picked this style of knife to be the official style of pocket knife for the Boy Scouts. Until 1922, the New York Knife Company was the only cutlery company authorized by the Boy Scouts of America to make official Boy Scout knives. But lots of companies made unofficial Scout knives. Starting in the 1940s, Schrade started using the official Boy Scout logo with this wire jack set. I can't find the knife and the fork that are both folding wire jacks. This is the little dinky spoon that came with it, and this is the correct spoon. But here's the embossed Boy Scout logo. Later on, like around the 1960s, they no longer made these out of leather. They used like a vinyl plastic. An official Boy Scout knife might have an etched blade like this Imperial, which was official, and it would have the Boy Scout logo. An unofficial knife might even use the word Scout, but it wouldn't have the official Boy Scout logo on it. It would just be the same type of knife. This is a Hibbard, Spencer, and Bartlett, but it's not authorized. These are all Imperials with different characteristics. This one you see a lot of. It's a Camp King, but it is not an official Boy Scouts of America knife. The rest of these all are official Boy Scouts of America knives. Let's take a look at how we know. So this one has the Boy Scouts of America logo, and you can kind of see the etches still there. This one has the Boy Scouts of America shield. Can't see the etch anymore. This one, you can see the Boy Scouts of America shield is in there. This one, as I showed you, has a good etch in the Boy Scouts of America. Okay, let's look at these older ones and some of the characteristics of them. These two don't seem to be official, but I want to show you a couple things about them. First is, they're both keen cutters. Somebody wore this knife out. Look at the main blade. There's very little left to it. Now, over time, Keen Cutter very slightly changed the can opener. Very, very slight differences. Also, the bone on this is just beautiful. You can still see the Keen Cutter etch pretty well there. But these are not official Boy Scout of America knives. In 1923, both Ulster and Remington were approved to issue authorized Boy Scouts of America knives. These are some of those. Let's take a look at those. The stamp on this Remington dates it between 1924 and 1933. It's got beautiful bone on it. It's in pretty good shape, pretty full blade, and it has the official Boy Scouts of America shield. One of the things I really like about these old can openers is those teeth. I don't know if you can see it. The teeth on the can opener, I just think that's cool. Anyhow, this is a beautiful old Remington. One thing I didn't show you about the Remington is that the liner is ticked or coined. There's another word for it that I don't know, but you can see the liner is got lines in it like the side of a quarter or the side of a dime. These three are all Ulsters, and they're all official. This particular one also has the coined liner, slightly different pattern than the Remington. I think this one's kind of cooler looking. But this is actually, is bone. This is a Girl Scouts of America. This is a pretty rare knife. It's an Ulster. And it has the, I don't know if you can see it, has a Girl Scouts soft etch on the blade. Okay. Great knife. Beautiful, beautiful bone. This one's pretty rare. Now this one is also an Ulster, but it's synthetic and it has just a regular shield and no etch. I don't think this was an official Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts knife. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. And this last one, synthetic handles, another Ulster, but it does have the correct shield. This doesn't exactly fit in, but I need to make mention of it. This is a Russian Army issue mess kit hobo folder tool knife. I showed it to a friend of mine, a woman I know from Russia, and she was like, "How did you get that?" Anyhow, one of the back springs fell off. It's not really beautifully constructed or anything, but it's interesting as heck. Okay, these are all case. You'll notice not one of them has an official Boy Scout seal. I don't know that Case ever had an official Boy Scout knife. It'd be an interesting thing to look up. This Circle C case originally had synthetic celluloid handles on it and began gassing. So I sent it out and had it rehandled. Did a beautiful job, but it's an old one. This one is also an old one, but this one is rough black. For those of you that aren't familiar with rough black was a synthetic material that I believe they began using during World War II to save other materials for the war effort. But this is a beautiful rough black and really, really pretty good condition. The blade's pretty full. Shield looks pretty good. Stamp is good. Bail is good. Moving on. This is a bone-handled XX. So this one is 1940 to 64. This one's in really good shape. Well, not perfect shape, but pretty full blade. The handles are crack-free, really nice. Bail is in good shape. This one is also XX, but this is a synthetic handle. Most collectors would look at this knife and say it's a Camillus, but check this out. See if you can see it. Camillus, I believe, made this knife for Case. I know during the war, Camillus was subcontracted to make knives for Case. I believe this is one of them. I'm 99% sure this was made by Camillus. Pretty rare one to find. Case XX. And then the last one I want to show you is the 1980s bone handle. Pretty full blade. In pretty good shape. And that ends all those utility scout type knives. Thank you for tuning in to the flagship episode by Endless Edgecraft. I'm Alex Chances. I'm happy you came by. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.